Hey there, Combo Cabal. Bryant Cook here. Today we are playing Pioneer. My last video was a blue-red list, and I really enjoyed it. I've played in a few leagues since then. Some great results, some not so great results. Uh, I don't have any strong opinions on the deck. I actually think it's very good. That said, somebody asked me to record a rug list. One that is truly rug, not blue-green splash red, but a true hybrid. So that's what I have in front of you. Uh, I think that this list actually makes quite a bit of sense. So I'm going to go through some of the ideas. So no pathway, instead running 4 Ketria Triome. This way you get to support your red cards in the main, but also in the board. So you can still cast your Anger of the Gods on turn 3 without a Lotus, hypothetically. But Anger, or not Anger, Abrade was one of the big cards that I really liked from the blue-red list. It felt really good, especially against these new Niv Delight lists that are running Dampening Sphere in the board, or Damping Sphere in the board, on top of running things like Notion Thief. You can board it in and hit both of their hate permanents. Traditionally, Lotus has been really weak against Notion Thief, and Abrade actually solves a lot of the deck's issues. In the past, I haven't been boarding in Wilt against really fast aggro decks because it's a dead card and it feels really bad when they're clocking you and they don't have Damping Sphere. Well, Abrade is actually the perfect solution because it removes Sphere, but it also removes fast threats, which is just like exactly what this deck wants. So now we have 6 red sources between Ketria Triome and Valakut Awakening. Um, or Valakut Stoneforge, technically. So that's an interesting thing to think about. I still like 2 copies of Wilt just in case you don't have one of your 6 red sources. It is a backdoor. Um, and yeah, so this list just aims to combine a few of the things together between the 2 variants. So once again, we have Sylvan Scrying and Arboreal Grazer from the blue-green list, but in the blue-red list, we had more copies of Birgi, and then we had Valakut Awakening on top of that. We found room for these cards by shaving 1 Baral and 1 Balagad Recovery for 2 Awakening, essentially. So that's how we did that. It's just tough because there's not a whole lot of slots in this deck that are flexible. So your flexible slots, they're all so good that you can't run everything you want unless you choose blue green or blue red, which is the harsh reality. In the board, we're seeing Bag of Holding. That's because it's great against the red black deck. It's obviously good against their own discard spells, but it's great with your own Pour of the Pages. You can just get those cards back. So that's a techie card we're trying out there. We have our 5 answers for Damping Sphere out of the mono green Devotion deck. Against Niv Delight, I would not board in Wilt. I will board in Abrade. Mystical Dispute probably comes in against Niv Delight still. It does counter Bring Delight for Valky or Slaughter Games, whatever. I'm a little bit lower on Niv Mizzet against that deck now. And the reason is that they have Valky and Tybalt, and they're both really good against Niv Mizzet. So maybe I'll board in one in that matchup, but I don't love it. If I am boarding it, it's only because it's a win condition that, you know, if you get hit by multiple Slaughter Games, you can still win. So this is the list that we'll be running today. I'm not sure if I think that this is better or not than the blue-red list, but it's certainly something to try, and that's what I'm here to do. So, yeah. If you haven't already, please subscribe, support this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And don't go anywhere. Round 1 will be coming up in just a second. Round number 1. We are on the draw. Our opponent has been playing red-black. Unfortunately, I don't think that this hand is a keep and we need a mulligan against the discard deck. But this hand is fantastic. We're definitely going to try this. I think Grazer's actually the bottom here. Is it? Yeah, I think it is Grazer. So we have turn 2 Scrying if we can make it that far without a discard spell, and it looks like they're not on Rakdos. So I'm pretty happy about bottoming that Grazer right now. I have no clue what our opponent's playing. It could be like a turbo Niv Delight deck. Let's go get our Lotus. Next turn we can play both halves. I don't know what they're playing. And we're just going to pass. In theory, you could have floated a colorless there and cycled a bunch and like cast dig through time, but you're never in a beneficial spot to copy. And you're just burning a lot of resources to do it a turn early. I will gladly chump block before you can kill my grazer. It's also a card in the graveyard for dig. Is this just like Temur Adventures from Standard now in Pioneer? And another Bone Crusher. Alright, so we're going to fall to 11 here. So I think I'm supposed to respond to that. Let's untap Lotus. That gives us 5 cards in the graveyard. And now we can delve them away. I still have a draw on the stack, apparently. Pour seems great, and... do I want Brawl, or do I want to dig? I could also take Valakut Awakening. I think I take... the Awakening? This is a tough call. No, let's take the Brawl. I just feel like we're more likely to win if we have Brawl. Okay. So we could play the Horn side of Birgi. Oh, wow. I just messed up. I could have floated green there, and I got punished. So it looks like I'm going to have to chump block with Brawl. Pray to get a little lucky. Nope, I'm just dead. Oh, I played that. I guess I was dead anyway. Stub. Probably want these. Problem is everything's so good in this matchup. Could use something like this. I don't think I hate that. Let's try it out. Why not? And if you want to support this content, as always, you can visit theepicswarm.com/shop. Alright, game 2 on the play against this Temur deck. I think this hand just isn't good enough, unfortunately. We should ship it. Closer. It's going to require some luck on our part. Really need to rip a land on the second turn. No dice. Not feeling good about this. Yeah. A turn late, but it's still there. Next turn we can play Grazer. Maybe I should have played Grazer that turn. I don't know. I don't think we're trying to go for it next turn, so I'm going to cycle this now. Because I can play the Grazer and the Scrying. Strings was a decent draw as well. Make them think about Blast Zone. Chandra. Definitely in a tough spot here. Could be dead on their turn. So they have 6 damage in play, 2 here, that's 8. They would need 3 damage on their turn to kill us. They added 2 red, so that's not a good sign. Love Strike Beast. Do you have a way to give it haste? Alright, so we need a good draw. We're dead to a Stubborn Denial. That was not a good draw. Cycle the Triome. Braid is not going to do it here. So unfortunately, we are 0 and 1 to start this. Round number 2, looking to bounce back. We're on the draw against xfile. I'm not really sure what they're playing, but this hand seems fine enough. Red-black. Scrying was a decent draw. Hopefully we can cast it. Alright, so maybe not red-black. Play out the Grazer. We can allow them to kill that, and then the Triome. Oh, I read that backwards. I thought their permanents got bounty counters. So we just allowed them to draw a card for free. Cast Pour. Might seem a little crazy, but like I kind of just want to fix this hand up a little. Like it's a little too clunky. I don't even think I want the Brawl, just because I'm assuming that they're sitting on a bunch of removal. So let's draw 5. Still no stage. I can cast Dig this turn. There's all my stages. I think I'd rather have a Pour. Jundin Pioneer. Chandra, okay. I think we have the go-ahead on our turn to go for it. Alright, so I just need to make sure to not target Ketrio or try him on accident. Let's cast the approach. This is just a win, I believe. Because each pour draws 3 and makes 1 mana. So this pour will leave 1 card that is left that isn't approach. So our next card we draw is approach, and it makes mana. And our opponent just conceded. But we could have Balged Recovery, Strings, and then like Strategic Planning or something that would have gotten us there. Alright, so we beat Jund in game 1. Abrade seems like a card that's pretty good here. Maybe keep like 1 Grazer, 2 maybe. And let's side out. Make a Brawl. I just don't want to turn the removal like Pusher Decay on. So we're going to try this out. This hand's slow but fine. Great draw. No reason to play the Valakut Awakening as a land. Collector Brutality. I think the pick here is actually strategic planning. But if you want to try to get cute, you could remove the approach. And our opponent agreed. So Grazer is nice here because it allows us to get our Lotus in play before something like, what is it called? The one black remove everything from the game. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But there's a card that exists that does that. Probably Awakening here. Ooh, they chose Dig. Perfect. What is that card called? I'm like trying to look it up while I play. I click on like a mono black deck and like none of them have it. Necromentia. That's what it's called. Okay. I think Birgi's probably the weakest card in this hand. I think keeping Birgi is doing it for entertainment value and not to win. And unfortunately, I would like to try to get some of my play points back here. Great draw. All right, and now we can play out the horn. I don't know how much we'll use it, but we can play it. Well, those weren't great. Let's cast these. They do fuel dig through time, though, which is very nice. I don't need a win condition yet. Especially when we have horn, like these pores are going to do some damage. One of the nice things about playing red is cards like Abrade don't need to cycle because you have horn and Valakut Awakening, where before you would always need things like Wilt, and that's just not the case anymore. Don't really need to cast those. Valakut Awakening. Hidden Strings is fine. Strategic Planning. I do think that Horn is a little bit better in the blue-red list because you have more like cantrips to cast off it. We can cast Sylvan Scrying, by the way, and then just like go get a land to then discard the Horn. That is an option. So there's Approach. Approach cannot win the game when cast off Horn. You can use it to go deeper into your deck, but it can't win the game. Let's cast this Planning. So I think that this might win. Now we get back Dig Through Time. For exact mana. Alright, so Horn did some work there. It could have been a little bit better, if I'm being completely honest, but it still saw us 10 cards for free. Like, that's the thing. Think that we paid 0 mana and we kept on seeing cards. Like, that's the power. Like, we paid 5 mana up front and then we didn't have to cantrip. We could just get those cards we want out of our hand, gone. So that's kind of nice. And I mentioned you get to filter cards like Abrade without needing to pay 2 mana to cycle them like Wilt. So that was sort of cool. We're 1-1 now. 3 matches to go. Round number 3 on the play. So technically you can get Lotus in 3 turns. Sure. I mean, it is a guaranteed Lotus at some point. And if you draw a real land on turn 2, you can accelerate a tiny bit with Grazer. Okay, so long-term planning at the moment. So they could have Censor up. But I think we're still going to jam the Scrying. Alright, so we have a field. Next turn we can Scrying for stage, play it, and another land if we draw one. No land, but we can still get Lotus here. Looks like they're going to counter this one. Unfortunate. Next turn we can cycle Vizier and then double planning. That's an option for us. Excuse me. And they are playing the control game. Looking for stage. I think I'd take the Awakening. I don't really need Reservoir. Could play out a land here to avoid Censor. I just chose not to. Maybe this isn't the right line here, because those are 2 cards I could have put back with Valakut Awakening. That might have been a little too aggressive. I don't need those lanes in play. It does help me if I draw exactly Lotus, though. Opponent's not doing a whole lot at the moment. We could try to play Birgi. I think the real thing that I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to end step either Awakening or Dig. Try to get them to tap down low, and then next turn try to resolve something meaningful. They're at 12. I'm just going to draw. They have to play Wincon at some point. The second dig was actually great. They're going to jumpstart this Chemist's Insight. Oh no, Torrential Gearhulk. There's a win con. I will gladly block. Not exiling the reservoir, though. Oh, that's actually pretty brutal. I'm gonna delve the reservoir just so I don't get wrecked by a sensor here. But that hurt quite a bit. So I'm going to just pass here and try to do a Valakut Awakening on their end step. Really just want to get them to tap a bunch of mana so we can resolve Birgi or Pour. But by the looks of it, they're just on never tap out control. Like Rewind and Torrential Gearhulk are pretty big signals of that. Eight cards. Let's see if they'll counter this. Nope. Draw two. Those were fine. Problem is, I think that they just have a ton of counter spells. Really, that resolved. Kind of surprised by that. If their plan is just like counter approach choice, we can beat that. They've countered Horn. It's pretty interesting that they decided Pores were okay, but Horn wasn't. Let's try Horn again. I don't know if I want to play Brawl, to be completely honest. I guess it does get them to tap mana, which is fine. Because that means it's probably one less counter spell. Fatal Push, so not really. So we're just down a mana on that interaction. It's a lot of mana. Strings is good. Vizier does not make mana. I don't know if we're going to be able to beat that, but we'll try. Like, if they have a counterspell, I think we might lose. Hypothetically, we could try again next turn, assuming that they don't have another counter. Yeah, we just needed to find more mana that turn. And assuming that they have a counterspell in their last 5, we're dead. I can't even cast Approach. So they get a whole nother turn with Scrying 4. I'm just going to do this so that way I can F6 and I have to deal with all these triggers. I imagine that this won't resolve, but like we have to take the chance that it does. The fact that they didn't upkeep Scry is pretty damning. Alright, we did not win game number 1. So I think we probably want these cards. We do not want Grazer. I think Wilt's probably... No, they probably have Notion Thief. So we'll board an Abrade. I think I want to shave Brawl just because they have Fatal Pushes. I'd rather those not be live. Maybe shave a Planning. Let's try this. And while we wait, go to the description and follow all of our social groups. Join the Epic Storm community, stay connected, make sure that you catch all of these videos by following these networks. On the play for game number 2, let's see if we can get this. Yep, we'll try this out. Opponent is mulliganed. Lumbering Falls. Classic land. Seen a lot of those in my lifetime. Playing out the coast because I'd rather sack Coast to Lotus Field than a Botanical Sanctum. Another Lotus actually isn't that bad, because if we draw another land, I can just sack 2 lands to this field. No, I'm just going to draw. That's a land. So next turn we will have double field. Do they try to play Notion Thief here? I think I want to try to resolve this dig. Probably the recovery. Draw 2. And the reason I left the Sanctum up is because if we take Dispute, well, we didn't find it, but Dispute could have been a good find there. Like, Dispute stopping Notion Thief is very good. I think I'm just going to pass. On the end step, we can make another Lotus, cycle this Triome. So the reason I set the stop here is if they want to try to Notion Thief, they won't get a wolf. Planning. Let's see if you have an answer. They're attacking for 12, so they're pretty close to lethal. 15 with the Lumbering Falls. Interesting. All right, so they conceded that. I mean, it worked. I don't think we should change anything. Let's just resubmit and do what worked in game 2. And once again, if you want to support this content, theepicstorm.com/shop. Get your card singles there. All right, game number 3. We're on the draw. I think this hand's probably fine. Leading on the coast because I would rather sacrifice those to Lotus Field than this Triome. I'm fine with taking 1. Wow. Great draws. Let's just copy now. Maybe by doing it on our turn now, they'll think that we don't have Dispute in our deck. And I am a little bit low on clock, so we're saving a few valuable seconds. I think I just try to go get like another... Maybe I shouldn't have played Triome. Maybe I should have waited. Because I could have copied Lotus this turn. Let's make good use out of it, though. Let's get back a Vizier. More mana is always welcome. And it's a draw. Like, I just want less cards in my hand that are clunky. Like, making a mana and drawing a card is great. Like, it's better than Desperate Ritual. They left in Fatal Push. A copy of Lotus Field. Our hand's looking fairly good. The Ambusher. Is it go time? Who knows? A lot of mana up on their side. Braid looking really good right here. In fact, I'm going to screenshot this because I would like this for the record. Okay, so they're going to negate. Let's dig. We have 3 disputes in our deck. Boom! Oh, that was sweet. All right, 2-1. We're coming for you, Pegleg, in round 4. We're on the play against our opponent, Pegleg. I'm assuming that they're a pirate. Some sort of bad joke here. They reveal the Yorion. This usually means that they're on the newer builds of Nivtalite. I think, unfortunately, we need to ship that. This seems fine to me. Bottom one of these Sylvan Scryings. Opponent going to 5. So on turn 2, we're going to go get a Lotus. And there's Lotus, actually. So we're just going to go get another stage. And probably even another sage with this one. We're just going to make so much mana. Our opponent said they don't think they can beat our deck. Well, I love to hear that, but I don't think that's true. And our opponent just concedes. Wow. Okay. Bringing these cards again. So these are cards I'm interested in. Assuming they're on Nivtalite, I like Niv as a way of beating the extraction effect. So I do want to bring that in. But we have 3 cards we need to take out. I think you could probably get away with Shaving Barrals. Question is, do we want 2 or 3 Abrade? So most lists have like 2 damping spheres in there, and they're also on Yorion, so they have a lower probability of finding it. But there's usually like 0 to 2 Notion Thieves as well. So like you don't really want a bunch of these, but you can get rid of them using Valakut Awakening and Birgi. Could like take out a Vizier. Let's try that. If it's bad, it's bad. Vizier is really for fast matchups, and Knave Delay isn't really a speed-based matchup, but you still like having Viziers to cycle through your deck, and we've opened up a great hand. That probably means a Thoughtseize, and I don't like that. No, okay. So we get to resolve this Sylvan Scrying. Alright, so we got our Lotus in underneath, what is it called? Slaughter Games. They have another one? Growth Spiral. Like, if you think about how this deck operates, like, it's wild. Cycling Triome. We're just going to pass here because we can Mystical Dispute plus copy at some point. All right, so is it our time? For what it's worth, Notion Thief can be cast through Mystical Dispute. Field. So if Birgi dies here, we're -2 mana on this interaction. Rip Birgi. Still fine, though. Double Valakut. That was sweet. So, yeah, I think I'm interested in playing Horn. Planning. Hidden Strings, that's a good one. And our opponent concedes, so we are now 3-1 with the final match to go. The final round of the night, we are facing MomsBasementStreams, and we're on the play. Unfortunately, not a keep. This seems okay. We're going to bottom the approach. If I have to keep one, I tend to like Reservoir a little bit more. You can cast it early against aggro decks to buy some time. And that's what we might be facing here. Need to find stage. Vampires, huh? So it's worth noting I can dig through time next turn. Vizier, untap, dig will take all of our mana and graveyard, but I can do it. That's planning. There's that approach again. Take the coast. Think about the other dig. We need an action spell, and that's what that is. Chump blocker. No! So if they take Reservoir, we actually need to Valakut back a win con. I think that they took the correct card here. Goodbye, Grazer. Double Vampire Knights. So we're going to 14 here. Wow. That was a good draw. We're going to gain some life. So it's worth noting, I could Valakut back the approach for a mini combo here, but I don't think that's going to be good enough. So let's see how much life we gain off this. So we gain 5. So this will gain 6, bringing us up to 32. Approach will gain 13, which is just shy. So we're better off getting Pour. Or even Dig. We should get dig. Guess it's okay to remove one hidden strings. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Why not? Let's show them a creature. And now I realize that I'm just like showboating a little bit, but let's do it. And boom. Took game one against vampires. And this is a matchup where I feel like siding in Abrade is pretty free because it slows them down, but it's also like a backdoor for a possible damping sphere. It's just really nice. Could side in Niv to avoid Necromentia. I don't really like Razor here. I don't think it's that good. You could also board in Bag of Holding because they are a discard deck. That said, I don't think the Vampires deck plays that much discard. I have Goldfish up here. This is the Vampire deck right here. I guess Duress and Agonizing Remorse. Yeah, maybe I should board in the bags. And it doesn't look like those lists had Necromentia. These are actually what I was looking at earlier. But this little one has 2 on the bottom. Spread out one brawl. Let's try this out. I like trying out different board plans. You learn a lot that way. Yeah, I'll keep this. Especially if we draw a land before turn 3, this is great. Alright, so ideally we would draw a land on our next turn. If not, we might have to sacrifice 2 stages, which is kind of rough. Bag of Holding. If I drew a land next turn, I'd probably consider holding the Lotus Field. You do risk losing to Necromentia by doing that, but risk reward, right? No Necromentia there. Alright, we're going to play out the field. Oh my, this works. This is bonkers with Vizier. Oh my, that is insane. You get all your Viziers back. Oh, that's so good. All right, so we're taking 6 here, going to 12. I would really love to draw a stage. I mean, it's pretty unlikely here, but okay, that's pretty good. That can get us one of the remaining stages. Cycle here one more time. I did not even consider how cycling works with Bag of Holding. That is so sweet. And we drew one of the stages. Our opponent's just done for. Wow, this is so awesome. And now we pour, put another card underneath Bag of Holding. And Bag of Holding works with Birgi too. This is just bananas. Approach right on time. Do I want to cast Approach here? Or do I want to use Bag of Holding? Because Bag of Holding would get us back triple Vizier. I think I want triple Vizier. That was just insane. Ooh. That went a little faster than I would have liked. It's because I set up auto yields and I just wasn't ready for it. Now we can cast this Approach. Cast Dig Through time. We got the 4-1 with Rug Lotus. How insane is that? Let's look at the deck list one more time. Bag of Holding. Wow, that was so sweet. Yeah, Abrade really overperformed this league. I mean, outside of our round one, we seemed like we were smooth sailing. Let me know what you think of this deck list. Bag of Holding. Wow. I'm just speechless right now. I knew about Horn and I knew about Pour, but I completely forgot about Cycling. Holy bananas. We got to do all three in one turn, which is just really sweet. And why not? Let's open all. Cavern of Souls. My first ever full set. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wow. That made this even better. Okay. Everyone, thank you for watching. This has been just incredible. Thanks. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.